for George Floyd and Justice, in hopes that the three policemen accomplices who assisted Derek Chauvin, the man with the knee on George Floyd's neck, are arrested and charged with the same charges Mr. Chauvin was charged with in compliance with Minnesota law. Perhaps this will abate the riots and the chaos burning across our country right now in protest to what has happened. I dreamed of Derek Chauvin. It was a warm, sunny spring day as I walked across the field and sat in front of the small crowd of maybe 100 or so people, listening to this man talk. A sort of motivator he was, about 50, with shiny black hair, and a rounder head than someone he was reminding me of that was vaguely familiar to me. I stood up to ask him a question, but he started demeaning me, telling me I had to wait, that I should sit down, talking about me in the third person to the crowd, being vindictive, embarrassing and surprising me. He continuing to harass me as I sat down, crossing my legs beneath me. He abandoning the subject of his speech. Then he's saying for the crowd, but at me, "You'll be much happier when your wife dies. Then you'll be more free, won't you?" Enraging me that he would say such a thing. How did he know anything about my wife, or if I even had one, I wondered. This upsetting me so much that he would bring up my wife, including her whom he couldn't have known, in his verbal assault on me, that I was about to get up and punch him in the face. He didn't appear to me to be too much bigger than me, but I was 73 and he was much younger, and much stronger probably. Then I realized it was Derek Chauvin, the man who had knelt on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, taunting him all the while to get up, man. You think you're such a tough guy. While his hands were cuffed behind his back, and 2 other cops were also pinning him helplessly to the asphalt street. Now that murderer had entered my dreams. I sweatily considered rushing at him as I reckoned I would have considered rushing at him in that Minneapolis street to knock him over, knock him off George Floyd. But then the other officers there would beat the hell out of me, and I would go to jail for assaulting a policeman because George Floyd had never died. I had saved him. But now I was the old white male victim of police brutality. That all flashing again through me as I stood up, took my first step away from Derek Chauvin before my emotions dysfunctionally got the best of me. Very angrily awakening, thinking about this horrendous human being and his abusive spirit, whose young, beautiful wife had announced she was leaving him the day he had finally been arrested because she was with George Floyd and his family. Probably also because he likely abused her, as he tauntingly had abused George that fateful day, and me in this dream that still had me seething, picturing Chauvin's spiteful, heartless face.